series very, very shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 2 in your series between, drum roll please, there we go, LucifroN and PuppyPaw, spawning in the north side of the map on the deli in the color blue. It is LucifroN.
And on the southern side, we are going to have, in red, PuppyPaw playing as the red Abbasid dynasty here. Looks like we do have an early mosque out there for LucifroN. You can see that the bottom left on the global queue that we have efficient production coming in immediately.
We've also got Wheelbarrow coming through as well for it says for PuppyPaw, but I think it might be for LucifroN, so we might have to fix that one up. We've switched them over on sides, but we haven't got their upgrades switched over just yet. So we'll make sure that that one gets fixed up. The global upgrades. I'm not sure exactly how you say that, but yeah, you can see that it's researching at the moment. There we go. That'll do. Sure.
Alrighty, so standard opening here so far by PuppyPaw. Looks like we're having both players open with double scouts, which is honestly the standard nowadays. You rarely see players going for a single scout. The information is just so valuable, and the ability to take away sheep from the opponent is also an extra benefit of going for that second scout out there. But most importantly, it's really either not running out of the sheep under your town center, which, well, we have seen instances of before in competitive games, and of course, simultaneously being able to acquire a large amount of information. But especially on this map, you gotta find those berries, so it would actually be very surprising if the players didn't go for a second scout.
Yeah, it would seem that way because food is such an important component of this matchup. Typically, against the deli, you're going to be looking at denying away their food sources. So I wouldn't even be surprised to see PuppyPaw go for a potential horseman opening or something like that to try and force a little bit of a defense from LucifroN before the game really gets started. But we'll have to watch and see how he plays because at this point in time, he's just going for pretty much the standard Abbasid Dynasty opening.
Yeah, so far it's a very standard Abbasid opening here. Other side, also a bit more of an aggressive approach with the deli. Sometimes you see players just going for a slightly delayed mosque. This is a mosque instantly, so you see efficient production already finished. And what this is going to result in is that LucifroN is likely going to have piety mostly completed by the time he reaches feudal age. So the moment he starts moving out for those sacred sites with the scholars, he's already gonna have the extra HP on those. Obviously, he's only going to start moving out once he also grabs sanctity.
And this could be a pretty big factor. A lot of people would look at that and think, it's not a big deal. It's only an extra 40 health on scholars. No, that's a massive deal. That is a huge amount of health to have. And it means that your scholars are going to be able to survive a lot longer in the event that they get into a firefight and they've got to heal up units. Maybe they get focused down by a bunch of archers. Could be the difference in a scholar making it away and a scholar not making it away. So it's a big upgrade. But now we see the Dome of the Faith coming down. No interesting Tower of Victory shenanigans coming out today. AKA Tower of Defeat.
Yeah, the Tower of Defeat is not going to make an appearance, at least not in this game. Looks like the scouts are now coming in here for PuppyPaw. He's out here for revenge. He remembers what happened in the previous game. Now he's trying to retaliate a tiny bit. And obviously, LucifroN, he needs some extra gold here because he wants to make a couple of scholars out there. PuppyPaw, he's gonna do some harassment over here.
Yeah, trying his best to hold on. You can see the single scout there for LucifroN just going to be trying its best to deny out these double scouts. He's doing a good job of holding it off for now. The town center actually in a pretty good spot as well. I don't think, yeah, he can't actually hit that gold mine without being hit by the town center. So very unfortunate. I don't know exactly how the gold works, but sometimes my town center covers my villages, sometimes it doesn't. So you get a little bit hit and miss on it. And in this case, unfortunately, for PuppyPaw, he's going to have to head back to the pavilion.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a standard economy wing coming in on the other side. PuppyPaw yet to send villagers to stone, but you see villagers already moving out, so it's gonna be a standard, good old-fashioned 2 town center build for him. The question is how aggressive LucifroN is going to play this one, and how PuppyPaw is going to try and deny those sacred sites. Speaking of which, we do have 2 sacred sites situated on the left side of the map, and we have one on the right side, so probably the focus will be on the left side at the beginning for LucifroN.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit better of a favorite or a better positioned sacred site for LucifroN here. I think he's going to be quite happy with this one, just mainly because that central sacred site, it's a little bit more forward than the one on the north side, so it enables him to sort of anchor from that and very easily cover that top side. But now coming down and looking to turn his attention towards his enemies' villages here as the double scout dance continues. Upgrades now coming through for LucifroN as well. We see all those +1 upgrades, and I suspect we've actually got a stable that's already come out for LucifroN here. This is very curious. So I don't think he's gone for a double opening, or a double blacksmith opening. In fact, not a single blacksmith up just yet. Looks like one is coming under production at the moment, but it's going to take some time. I'm assuming that's a blacksmith and not a market over towards that right side. It's hard to tell the difference between the two, though, sometimes.
It should be a blacksmith, indeed. It is a blacksmith coming in, and he's going very aggressive, you see. He's immediately going for supervising that stable. So he's not even going to get that second scholar into the moss to get sanctity faster. He wants to get horsemen out. He wants to get a couple of horsemen. He possibly wants to pressure that stone mine. Let's not forget that PuppyPaw is playing a very defensive game over here. And if that stone mine gets hit before the town center's required stone is accomplished, then of course you can deny that TC, but that's not going to be the case. On the other hand, you might be able to harass these villagers here a tiny bit before that town center is completed.
Yeah, fortunately it's only a horseman, so he's, you know, in worst case scenario, he'll be losing about 40 health before he comes back in. Looks like he's not even going to pull the villagers. He's just what a giga chat. He's like, you know what, you can attack me, I don't care. You're only a horseman, and you barely even hurt. But now that second town center is up for LucifroN, or rather for PuppyPaw. He's in a great little spot here, managing to get that up before the timing, because that's what that timing is designed to do. PuppyPaw is looking to try and deny the gathering of resources on that stone, and if he can't do that, try and look to get a villager or two before that town center goes up. It doesn't happen, though. So he could have opened with a double blacksmith, doesn't, and as a result, a nice little victory here for PuppyPaw.
Indeed, second town center is up, and it looks like now the scholars are heading out towards those sacred sites. This will be scouted by PuppyPaw, but he has absolutely no tools to stop this. He's got a horseman in queue. He can try sniping those scholars, but those guys are beefy. 130 HP. It's gonna be so difficult to pick those off. And you see, we also have some horsemen out there for LucifroN. So LucifroN is in a pretty decent position to grab all three sacred sites. Possibly, what did the deer ever do to you? Oh, poor little Bombi getting killed there by the horsemen.
Now, PuppyPaw won't be able to kill the scholars, but he's going to be able to do something much more effective against them, and that's delay the sacred site being captured, because you can indefinitely just delay it, and you can see the way that he's hovering around with these cavalry units. He is intent on coming back. We can see that LucifroN yet to capture up those sacred sites just yet, but now it is ticking. And now you will expect to see that scout move towards the north, horseman coming down to the south, and he is going to delay the sacred sites as much as possible. He's going to stand on the sacred site. He's just going to run a few rings around the rosy, and this, as a result, is going to delay that sacred site from being captured. And you can see this is what's so damn difficult about dealing with these cavalry units. And now central sacred site, oh gosh, central sacred site as well getting captured. A lot of action coming down, but it looks like he's going to be trying to turn his attention towards the scholar. Look at that. Take a look at that, Lidakor. We got ourselves a scholar on the run.
Yeah, the scholar has to run away here for a brief moment. And what I love about these horsemen here for PuppyPaw is that they're faster than scouts. When you run around that sacred site with a scout, the enemy horseman can chase you down. But how about you having your own horseman out here? And wait a second, PuppyPaw's got quite a lot of horsemen over here. He's out here for blood, and he's gonna get the kill here in that central sacred site.
There's a lot of scouts down here, or rather a lot of horsemen down here, but he's going to be throwing them away. It looks like one of the sacred sites has actually turned over towards LucifroN, so he'll be happy getting 1 out of the 3. But typically in this position, normally the Deli's going to be able to grab 3 out of the 3, but PuppyPaw doing a very good job at denying that. And now heading up towards the north, it looks like this second sacred site is going to be successfully captured. Third sacred site in the middle. We can see it's got, does it have a scholar on it? No, it doesn't have a scholar. It's only got some horsemen on it, but it does look clear.
Yeah, we still have 2 sacred sites though for LucifroN, so that clock starts to tick here for PuppyPaw. He's up by 8 villagers, which is a pretty respectable start, and now he's got some camel archers in the mix. This could be concerning for LucifroN though, because LucifroN's army is exclusively horsemen, so horseman camel archer from PuppyPaw is capable of beating this unit composition, and you see, when this horseman is gone here for LucifroN, this sacred site is about to be decapped. So, given the circumstances, PuppyPaw is doing a pretty decent job denying and delaying those sacred sites, and this is buying him precious time to build up that massive eco with the Abbasids.
Yeah, but now we see the consequences of opening with those horsemen. So as you mentioned, in a direct fight, perhaps the horsemen and the camels will be able to beat the full horseman composition. But now we can see where it really comes in, and it is that mobility. He's able to run around the entire map, and if any sacred site does get... Oh my god, look how many villagers are dead up there. The horsemen. Oh my lord. Who expected a horseman to be killing things? Look at that.
And it's just the fact that you have so many fights across the map. You know, you're saving your scholars, you're fighting at 3 sacred sites, and you just simply don't notice that there's a new attack notification on the north. There has been a lot of words towards the devs about that one. You know, a special attack notification when your villagers are getting attacked or something. LucifroN lost so many villagers, and that contributes to that now gigantic villager lead of 14.
Yeah, it continues to build up. Keep in mind we've got sacred sites that offset that, but remember that PuppyPaw is scaling. It starts out at 14 villager differences, and then it moves up to 15, and then 16, and it continues going, whereas those sacred sites stay stagnant. That's going to be the difference between those two. But now, forcing back, PuppyPaw looking very, very strong in this opening. We're 11 minutes through this, and I feel like a lot has gone well for PuppyPaw. Obviously, the sacred site numbers have been in favor of LucifroN here, but PuppyPaw is trying his best to hold on in this second game in the series.
Luz is one of those expensive camel archers out there, and that is going to hurt. Camel archers are brutally expensive for a feudal age economy here, so you really can't afford to lose them. Bit of a fight in the middle as well. Losing some horsemen and another camel archer, this is the problem for PuppyPaw. He needs to make sure he doesn't lose those expensive units from his army, because he needs to make sure that he's taking as efficient engagements as humanly possible. He's up by 17 villagers, but as you pointed out before, you do have 2 sacred sites operating here for LucifroN. And look at that, it's like, for a brief moment he had 1,200 food in the bank. Where did that go? He just probably queued up like 10 horsemen.
Yeah, there's a lot of units that have now been queued up for him. He's got camels as well as the horsemen in queue, and now turning his attention towards this hunt. He knows the food sources are exactly where he should be targeting this Delhi player, and that is what he's going to be doing now, focusing down those villagers before he sprints away. He's got the camels there together with the horsemen, but remember, I think those camels are a little bit slower than the horsemen. I'm sure Salami can click on it and check for us. I think they're 1.62 movement speed, 1.64 movement speed. Yeah, 1.62, there we go. So by grouping them with the horsemen, he's going to be a little bit slower.
Indeed. Obviously, when you're taking direct engagements, though, it's a completely different story, and it looks like we're gonna have that engagement come up. Numbers are looking better here for LucifroN, but of course you do have the camel debuff. The scary thing, though, Castle Age is coming in behind this one for LucifroN. PuppyPaw, he might need to take a fight here.
The thing is, he can't take the fight because of the scholars, and you can see Salami selecting them on the back line. The problem is that in this fight, the horsemen don't do enough damage. And because of that, it means the scholars are going to be so effective in healing up any of the damage that comes out against them. The camel numbers are slowly but steadily increasing, but I don't know whether it's going to be enough. And now we try our best to see through this stealth forest as the action continues. Horsemen coming through onto the back line, going to be looking to focus down these camels. First camel does go down, and with it goes that aura, but it looks like PuppyPaw going to be able to take a decent fight here. Manages to focus down a lot of those scholars, and only one of them going to be coming out alive.
PuppyPaw did an exceptional job finding those scholars with the camel archers, and it's so difficult in that cluster in the middle. He picked off the scholars with the camel archers, and then there was just no healing power out there for LucifroN. Camel debuff happened. Look at that, that horseman is still doing work! What is that?
Oh my
LucifroN
god,
never noticed!
This single horseman has now become a veteran. It is just taking out villages non-stop. It is a ludicrous amount of villagers that have gone down up there. We need to check the villager count at the end of this game. I suspect there's been close to 15 villagers go down up here. It is crazy how many villas have gone down up in this position.
And the scary thing is that at some point LucifroN reacted to it because he had the villagers garrisoned. So he probably ungarrisoned them when the horseman was gone, and then the horseman came back, started killing again. It's almost double the villagers now for PuppyPaw. He's still feudal age, but let's not forget, LucifroN just spent a ton of resources on Castle Age, and he's yet to get anything out of that.
Yeah, now we can see this is where the Delhi really fall off. He doesn't have access to those food sources, and now going to be losing. He needed to delete that. I hope he deleted that horseman down to the south. Looks like he managed to keep it alive. But you can see that he's targeting the food sources here. He's hitting that berries up towards the north. He's repeatedly coming back over onto this deer. He is not letting up on this Delhi player. He is always coming out of the box. And now we've got the age up through for our Abbasid Dynasty player as well. He is looking very fierce. And now all of a sudden it appears that the reign of Delhi being S tier is slowly coming to a close.
Possibly indeed. With that gold mine being denied, there is just no chance for LucifroN to add new knights. And as you pointed out, the villagers here on the hunt have been harassed left and right. Speaking of which, it's so sad when the Delhi has to even go for hunt. And part of the equation, of course, is that LucifroN lost so many villagers on those berries on the north. He's down to 35 villagers as opposed to 73. And he lost both sacred sites. So no gold from the sacred sites. Lost a bunch of berry villagers, and now he's gonna have to garrison these as well on the hunt. His resource income is just falling apart as compared to PuppyPaw, who now has map control, and he can leverage that by using the berries.
Lidakor, take a look at the population difference between these two guys right now. You got 106 population for PuppyPaw, 44 for LucifroN. He is less than half of the population of his enemy right now. Of course, he's got stronger units in the Knights. But I tell you what, this is going to be an uphill battle for him if he wants to try and pull something out of his sleeve right now, that's for sure.
And both of those exposed food sources are now under attack. And the thing is that LucifroN is sending his forces to the base of PuppyPaw. PuppyPaw has 2 town centers to defend with, and that is a tower being burnt down, potentially 5 more villagers or 4 more villagers rather going down. And on the right side, we also have another tower that's being burned down. LucifroN, he could go down to 30 villagers here at the 16-minute mark. And if PuppyPaw is able to buffer up that assault against his base, he's almost up to castle age. He would get his own lancers and he would possibly win the game. He just needs to survive this one counterattack, I feel.
Yeah, 4 or 5 lancers, 6 lancers in the base now. Castle Age is going to be reached. We'll take a look and see how he looks to respond to it. PuppyPaw has got Spearman in queue. He's also got the Hardened Spearman upgrade coming through. Continuing to raid on the Woodline. Villager countdown for LucifroN to 25. It's starting to look terrible for him. He's got relics on the way in, but no sacred sites are held for him at the moment. He's trying his best to get some damage in over on the base of his opponent. Those villagers manage to evacuate the farms before too much damage is done, and good game gets called. PuppyPaw evens up the series 1-1, and the Abbasid Dynasty come out with a W.
Big win here for PuppyPaw, relentless. And I loved how he stayed in feudal. He stayed in feudal because he understood that the Delhi, you get a ton of gold with that, right? And you want to get to that massive power spike in Castle Age, Lancers and the men-at-arms, of course. And if I just stay in feudal age, we play that horseman plus camel archer composition, you have to fight, you have to defend, because if you don't, I would just cut you off from the food. And that's exactly what happened. And look at that villager count for LucifroN. I think it's not even the story of the civilization matchup in this game, it's the story that LucifroN did not increase his villager count since the 8-minute mark due to all those villagers being killed on the berries.
Oh man, it was just a ludicrous display right there. PuppyPaw just, I can't believe it. A single horseman. I've never seen horsemen kill villagers before, but it turns out they can actually do it, and they did it pretty effectively that game. Really well played there from PuppyPaw.
Really well played indeed. And with that, he's going to even things out. And we got ourselves a set over here, ladies and gentlemen. As I said at the beginning, this could go down to 7 games. Right now, we're even at 1 apiece.
All right, game number 3 going to be coming up very, very shortly here. Got PuppyPaw up against LucifroN. So it's going to be a home map of LucifroN that'll be happening. And obviously PuppyPaw going to be really happy to pull that one out on his home map. You know, coming into that one, we talked about, you know, which civilization was favored. Was it the Delhi? Was it the Abbasid? Obviously, we suspected that it would be the Delhi that would come out victorious, but it wasn't the case.